Good morning, guys. We are in Enterprise, Oregon, but we're wrapping things up, getting ready to hitch up and head to Clarkston, Washington.
We're going to be taking Highway 3 north, and we're going to be going through something called Rattlesnake Pass or Rattlesnake Gulch, depending on where you read about it. But it's a pass that we'll be towing over that has a lot of big switchbacks.
Yeah, so it seems we can't seem to find the official name of this pass, but something about rattlesnakes, and we are not exactly sure how it'll be. It's supposed to be very scenic, and like Jess said, lots of switchbacks, but apparently if you just take it easy and go slow, it should be fine, and also really beautiful drive.
Yeah, we got to get the truck hitched up and ready, and then we'll hit the road.
Yep. What was it called?
4-point sway control Equal-i-zer. Equal-i-zer is the brand.
Oh, okay.
Equal-i-zer 4-point sway control.
Well, as Jesse just said, we have an Equal-i-zer 4-point sway control.
Zoom in here, right here. It's a 4-point Equal-i-zer hitch, and these bars, the way they work, create the sway control.
And they're kind of a pain to put on sometimes. So we'll see if...
So you hook this tool under it, put it in the groove here, the notch, and then put the other end of it in this. This tool is kind of odd shaped, but it's to put these on.
So use your legs, friends, not your back.
Lift with your legs.
Lift with your legs. Sometimes they can be difficult to put on depending on if we're sort of a little off level or anything like that. That one went on pretty easy. I think they're getting easier the more we do them. Maybe we're breaking in the sway control bars, and they're becoming a little bit easier to put on, but there have certainly been times we have struggled a bit with it.
And we've had to pull the camper and get it straight before, just to get these bars on.
Yeah, we've had to just pull it from the ball hitch. Jesse's doing an expert job today, though. And then you can see here, we have this, what do you call this thing, Jess? The little bar thing that clamps on there.
This?
Yeah.
It's a retaining pin.
A retaining pin, and then it hitches to our hitch with right there.
There's a pin here that goes through, and a cotter pin that holds this pin in place. And these pivot as you turn.
Right.
And it creates friction, which causes the sway control.
We'll do a whole video about our towing setup and everything with more explanation and detail, but just thought we'd give you a little bit look there as we get ready to head out. Say goodbye to these lovely mountains that are behind us.
It's actually not so hazy today.
Yeah, it's not quite as bad. Maybe the smoke is clearing out some. Anyways, we're gonna hit the road and we'll catch up with you guys as we go on the Rattlesnake Pass. So we are here on Highway 3. We look back, we just came from that way, and it is slow going because we are on the side of a mountain heading down with lots of turns, lots of curves and switchbacks. And let me show you what we came across here. This canyon. Wow. I know I say wow a lot, but it's just, you know, it's just appropriate sometimes. How beautiful. We drove through the Willow-Whitman Forest a little bit more on Highway 3, and then this is actually not public lands we're going through even. We've seen a couple of driveways, but that's about it. We are just up on this mountain, and it's quite beautiful up here. So there's our road. That's where we're heading. You can see down there a little, looks like truck camper heading up this way. If we turn this way, you can see it looks like we're going to be heading towards the right and then doing a loop to the left to head down this other side of the mountain. This is a gorgeous drive up here. Again, this is Highway 3 that we are taking from Enterprise, Oregon, and we are headed towards Clarkston, Washington.
All right. We just crossed over into Washington, and it turned from Highway 3 to, what is it?
129, I think.
129. And we went down all the way into the valley of the floor of the valley. Mm-hmm. And then we started climbing up again, and there's a lot of switchbacks.
This is a serious drive. It's actually it's really nice. The road's really nice, but it's miles and miles and miles of switchbacks.
You have to concentrate.
Yeah, and they're slow, like 25-mile-per-hour switchbacks just for miles and miles. But it is really an amazing drive. The view is just insane the whole time.
Yeah, there's a lot of pull-offs too, so you can take in the views. Some roads are spectacular views, but you can't stop and take any pictures. Here there's pull-offs, so you can.
Yeah, there's plenty of pull-offs. It is a pretty small road. There's only one lane going each way, both up and down. On a lot of these passes, you'll see on the way up, they have 2 lanes so that slower traffic can be passed, but this is a much smaller road than that. But like I said, it's very well maintained, and there's not a lot of traffic, so that is nice. And when there has been someone behind us, Jess has been finding a pull-off and pulling over to let them pass, and it's been nice, which makes it less stressful for us too.
Yeah, I think we've got a little bit more climbing. The grades haven't been too crazy. It's been slow and steady going up and then slow and steady going down so far. We have hit a little bit higher percentage grades on this side once we hit the Washington side, but it seems doable. The truck is not really having any issues so far.
Yeah, so far so good. But again, it's quite a drive, and I would recommend it. Like, so far it seems to be going fine, even for us hauling, and we've seen several other RVs and travel trailers going on the road too.
We saw 18-wheeler with the double trailers on it, so if they can make it, we can make it.
Yeah, for sure. Hey everyone, well, we have made it to Clarkston, Washington.
Clarkston. It's backwards. We're in Clarkston. We're across the Snake River from Lewiston. But Clarkston is on the west and Lewiston is on the east. So when you look on a map, it's Lewiston and Clarkston.
It's Clarkston.
It's Clarkston and Lewiston. It's backwards.
It's backwards.
I want to start a campaign to rename these two cities. They just need to trade names. That's all they need to do.
Just trade names.
Could you imagine how many legal problems that would probably make?
I know. Well, regardless, we have made it to Clarkston, Washington.
Clarkston.
We are staying here at the Hells Canyon RV Resort, which is right on the Snake River.
Yeah.
There's also a marina right here as well, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the truck did great on the tow.
Truck did great.
233 degrees, I think, was the highest I saw on the temperature of the transmission, which isn't that far out of our normal operating range. But this pass was different than Monarch. Monarch had steeper grades. This didn't seem to have quite as steep grades as Monarch, and it was up to a peak and down, and then back up to another peak and back down.
Yeah.
So it was like a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
You went up a smaller peak and then down, and then you went up the big peak and down.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the steady climb to the summit and the steady downgrade on the other side, which was really nice because that broke up the braking and it broke up the climbing.
Yeah, and it felt like Monarch felt shorter. It was a shorter amount of time it took us to go over that. This was way longer.
And way twistier.
And way twistier, but it didn't, and maybe it's just because of our experience with Monarch that we were a little less nervous this time, but it felt fine, you know. You had to go slow because, I mean, it was probably legitimately about 20 miles or so of turns, slow, 25 mile per hour turns.
Slow switchbacks all the way through. Well, once you hit the switchbacks part.
Yeah.
And then, the way they banked the curves on this made it not as bad.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was some very steep banks on some of the curves, but these are greater than 180 degree switchbacks. So they needed to be tight, and because they had to be tight, they needed to be banked, and they were banked. So it didn't feel like you were about to fall off the mountain.
Yeah, the road was excellent condition. The banking was great. They had guardrails in some spots where it was a little crazy. We got some friends back here, but it was great. And like I said, Jesse, you did an excellent job driving it.
Thanks.
Felt great. Truck did great. There was, when we were going up the side, it felt like it was up and up and up, but the truck handled it no problem.
The other thing, the RPMs going up were much lower. The peak I saw them hit was about 4,000 RPMs going up. It went higher, a little higher when I was engine braking occasionally, which is no big deal. But it just means that we had additional power capacity well and beyond what this pass needed for the weight we were towing. We had a lot more power than we needed. The truck didn't struggle in any way. It only downshifted occasionally, and then it only downshifted once, and it stayed around 3,000 to 3,500 RPMs when we were pulling the grades.
Yeah, so I know a few videos back I said I would immediately trade in the truck for a 250 or a 350. I'm not going to say if someone handed me one I wouldn't take it, but I am starting to feel more comfortable with our truck's ability to get us where we need to go. It has not let us down yet. In fact, it's not even really broken a sweat. So
yeah,
I'm pretty impressed at this point with how the 150 is doing. But Ford, if you would like to give me a 350, I will take one.
Yeah, it did great. I'm glad we're over on the other side of it now. Pulling on those kind of roads, you always have to concentrate and focus a lot, so you feel a little drained even though it's not that long of a pull. So I'm glad we're over here and we're about to go get us something to eat and relax.
Yep, we're all set up here at the RV park. We're gonna grab a bite, relax, and enjoy our time. But again, that was Highway 3 on the Oregon side. It turns into Highway 129 on the Washington side. It's a beautiful drive. I do definitely recommend it. Just be prepared to go slow, but it is very scenic.
Thanks for watching.